Over me, lay aloha. I never more to say goodbye. I never more to say goodbye.
For my project, I chose to work in the lo'i kalo, the taro patch. I planted and cultivated the kalo and learned about this amazing plant. The process of planting, harvesting, and consuming this food is an excellent example of sustainability. I hope you enjoy it. I am speaking with KUMU EMMA, a Hawaiian language teacher here in Punahou. Have you ever worked in the lo'i?
Yes, I have. I've worked in the lo'i kalo when I was a student at the University of Hawaii. I also worked in a lo'i kalo in Halawa, Molokai, and I also visited lo'i kalo here on this island in Waianae.
What did you learn from working in the lo'i?
I learned that it's actually fun. It's really hard work, but it's a way that you can join together with other people, build relationships, and create more community.
Why was this such an effective way for Hawaiians to grow food?
I think it was super effective because they had many taro patches at a time throughout their ahupua'a, and ahupua'a was a land division from the mountain to the sea. It was kind of a pie-shaped land division, and they had many taro patches throughout the valley, but they didn't use all the taro patches at one time. They would have certain ones that they would use, and then once they harvested those, they would let the land rest for a little while so that the nutrients could go back into the land. And at that time, they would use the other taro patches, and so they never stripped the land of its nutrients, and they were able to create better food, better product, because they didn't strip the land of the nutrients. And it was also great because they used the natural flow of the land. Because their ahupua'a was from the mountain to the sea, it was perfect because they used gravity. Water travels from the uplands to the lowlands, and in order to allow these lo'i kalo to exist, well, it needed running, flowing, cold, fresh water. And they were able to ingeniously figure out how to do that in their ahupua'a.
How was the lo'i kalo a model for sustainability?
I think the lo'i kalo is a great example of sustainability for various reasons, but one reason is the Hawaiians would use every single part of the plant. They would use the corn to make their taro, their staple food. They would use the ha for cooking and also replanting. They would use the leaves for cooking and eating. They also use the plant for various medicinal purposes. And the great thing is, once you harvested a plant, it wasn't over with. You just cut off the particular part that you needed and you replanted it. So from one plant, I mean, it would last for generations because they would continue to use the parts and you didn't have to just throw it away.
Thank you, KUMU EMMA.
Mahalo. Ahuiho.
According to KUMU EMMA, growing taro in the lo'i was an effective and sustainable practice for the Hawaiian people and their lifestyle. If Hawaii residents planted, cultivated, and consumed the kalo as ancient Hawaiians once did, we would not have to be so dependent upon imported foods. According to the Hawaii Department of Agriculture, the 1.1 million residents who live here in the state of Hawaii consume 90% of imported foods. This has a very negative impact on our local economy because these jobs are outsourced. According to a recent survey prepared by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, Hawaii has an unemployment rate of 6.9%. If Hawaii residents were to start growing and selling their own food, many jobs would be created and the jobless unemployment rate would decrease. There is also the factor that Hawaii could save millions of dollars if we didn't depend so heavily upon imported foods. However, since we do rely on outside food sources, the foods that are shipped here to Hawaii are far more expensive than from where they originate. Costs for imported goods are substantially greater because of shipping costs and many different other factors. I am now sitting with Mr. Blaine Yap, who is a frequent consumer of kalo and poi. Have you worked in the lo'i kalo before?
Every summer as a youth, I used to go to Honolulu and work in the taro patches with my brothers.
What was your experience?
It was hard work. We'd start at about 9 in the morning, work till about 3 in the afternoon. Then we'd have to bag the taro and then put it on the banks of the taro patch.
Were you a consumer in your early childhood days?
I started eating taro when I was at a very young age, and I'm still eating it to this day. I'm also feeding it to my children. I feel that it's a great staple food, and it keeps your body strong. There's no fat in taro, poi, and it's a great filler for whatever food you eat. A lot of uses for it. They make chips with it, pancakes, of course the poi.
Could kalo possibly be produced on a mass scale here in Hawaii?
Probably produce more poi, but of course you'd have to get the growers together and produce it in mass. I'm sure the price would go down with more poi, but there's always a shortage every year. I think a lot of people are realizing that poi is a benefit to their bodies, and not only people in Hawaii but people on the mainland are starting to consume it more than ever.
It's important for people to see that growing taro in the lo'i is effective and sustainable. Taro is very beneficial for one's health. It sustained entire populations in old Hawaii and could do the same today if we worked hard to make it happen. I think it is valuable to understand the culture and the history behind the kalo plant as well. Culturally, the taro is considered the first Hawaiian. It is our older brother. Hawaiians believe that just as in a family, if we care for our siblings, they will in turn care for us. This is why we as a native people, malama aina, care for the land and trust that it will do the same. If our society understands the close relationship that Hawaiians had to the land and embrace it themselves, then we will maintain a balance in our island's ecosystems, provide for the people of our state, depend less on outside food producers, and be self-sufficient.
Can we get an amen?
Amen up in this house.